Hi everyone, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today is part 1 of my April book haul, and it's another Agatha Christie book haul because I have a severe need to have beautiful Agatha Christie books in my collection. So yeah, without much further ado, let's get into the Agatha Christie books. Now, a couple of these are about Agatha Christie or Agatha Christie characters, but haven't been written by her. But about more than half of them, of the books, are by Agatha Christie. So yeah, having said that, let's get in. So the first one I've got to show you is Murder, She Said, the Quotable Miss Marple. So you can safely say this is written by Agatha Christie, but it is edited by, let me see, it's edited and introduced by Tony Medawar, and it has quotes from all the Agatha Christie Miss Marples. I haven't read as many Miss Marples as I have Poirots, but I'm rectifying that as we go along, because I am part of a group that reads Agatha Christie every month, Christie Fest. That's hosted by Julie, the Hungry Bookworm, and Lil over at Lil's Vintage World. And we read the book, we chat about it, and it's just great. I love it. And it's kind of helping to develop my love of Miss Marple, because Poirot was always the one that I kind of gravitated towards, because he was where I first started with Agatha Christie. But anyway, I have the Poirot one of this already, and I always meant to get this and just never did. And then I saw it online and yeah, I picked it up. Really, I have no gifts, except perhaps a certain knowledge of human nature. Everyone in St Mary Mead knew Miss Marple, fluffy and dithery in appearance, but inwardly as sharp and as shrewd as they make them. This is a wicked murderer, Inspector, and the wicked should not go unpunished. Now, in her own words, discover the razor-sharp mind of the world's favourite armchair sleuth, and the wit and wisdom of the Queen of Crime who created her. Includes an exclusive essay by Agatha Christie, written to promote the Miss Marple stories. Does a woman's instinct make her a good detective? Now, that excites me, because anything else that Agatha Christie wrote outside of her books and outside of her detectives really kind of grabs my attention. But I'm so looking forward to getting to this, and it's gorgeous as well. It's got a pair of specs on the front. The Poirot one has like a felt moustache, which is just lovely. So the next one that I have to show you is an Agatha Christie book, and it's a rather gorgeous 1950s edition of Partners in Crime, and it says on it, the Queen of Crime, which indeed Agatha Christie was. This is a collection of short stories, and they centre around Tommy and Tuppence, who, as far as I'm aware, I've never read any Tommy and Tuppence, but as far as I'm aware, they're not really fan favourites. I can't say whether or not I like them because I haven't read any of their stuff yet. But this book, when I saw it, I just had to have it. It's just gorgeous. I think it dates from about 1951 or 1952. And I shall read you the inside. This delightfully witty book will come as a pleasant surprise to all admirers of these ingenious detective thrillers for which Agatha Christie is famous. It tells the story of the amazing adventures of two amateur detectives, Tommy, a remarkable young man of 32, and his equally remarkable wife, Tuppence, who follow the methods of famous detectives such as Sherlock Holmes, Inspector French, Roger Sheringham, Bulldog Drummond, Father Brown, and even Monsieur Poirot himself. Problem after problem comes before them for solution and the account of their endeavours to live up to their slogan, Blunt's brilliant detectives. Any case solved in 24 hours makes delicious reading. And let's just see when exactly this one was published. It doesn't have a date inside. The listing online said that it was I think it was either 1951 or 1952, and it's just gorgeous, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection. Just lovely. So the next one it fits in nicely with this other one that I just showed you because it's the same design and it's the same kind of design, the same colour scheme and stuff. So it's The Labors of Hercules by Agatha Christie, and it's starring Hercule Poirot. I have never read this one, but I have seen the TV adaptation many years ago, so I don't really remember exactly what it's all about. I do believe that it's set in a hotel somewhere in the mountains. We'll find out because I'll read the inside. Nobody would say that Hercule Poirot bore the slightest physical resemblance to his mythological namesake, but with his usual disarming vanity, the little Belgian detective whimsically decided that before he retires to grow the vegetable marrow, he will undertake 12 more cases, choosing each because of its resemblance to one of the 12 Labors of Hercules. On the affair of the Nemean lion to the capture of Cerberus, literally from hell, he carries out his task. There, fortunately, the analogy ceases, for the famous little detective does not die from wearing a poisoned shirt, but lives to labour for our enjoyment another day. And, each of these 12 episodes is a little gem, varied in subject and setting, but all finely polished examples of the unrivalled craftsmanship of Agatha Christie. So, this is a collection of short stories. Okay, I did not know that. Just goes to show. This edition was from 1951, and it's just absolutely lovely, and I just adore it. So the next one is a hardback facsimile edition. I already have this in paperback, but I've always wanted a hardcover of it. I do prefer hardcovers. I just do. They're more pleasing to me for whatever reason. I don't know. But it is Poirot's Early Cases by Agatha Christie. And on the back there is an advertisement for Murder on the Orient Express, which we all know is my favourite Agatha Christie. This is a collection of short stories again. 18 short stories by Agatha Christie, with one exception, never previously published in England in book form, add up to a treasure trove for the Queen of Crime's millions of admirers all over the world. All the stories feature Hercule Poirot and the cases which helped to establish the little Belgian detective's professional reputation in this country when he first came over at the end of the First World War and became involved in the scandalous affair at the Victory Ball. The majority of the stories are narrated by the friend who in those early days played Watson to Poirot's Holmes and afford fascinating glimpses of Poirot grappling with English problems, even while grappling, sometimes less successfully, with the English language. Here, then, are 12 new stories about one of the best-loved detectives in fiction. The stories are vintage Christie. There is no need to say any more. I just can't wait to get to this. I just love it so much. So the next one is one that I have actually read, but it was in a bind-up edition, and I've always wanted the hardcover copy again. It is Parker Pyne Investigates by Agatha Christie, unrivaled writer of mysteries. So this is a collection of short stories, and it involves one of her lesser-known detectives, Parker Pyne. Agatha Christie, creator of Hercule Poirot, has now invented an entirely new character who appears for the first time in the present book. He is Mr. Parker Pyne. Unlike Poirot, he is English, and typically English. Large, not to say fat, with a bald head of noble proportions. He seems to breathe respectability and the preeminence of the British Empire. He enjoys a large practice as a private investigator. He is a man of many mysteries, and some of these are set down here for the first time. These stories are about the best thing Agatha Christie has done in this particular line. Every one a perfect gem of the art of the mystery story. And these were very enjoyable. There was a lot of similarities with other Agatha Christie novels. I noticed a few similarities with Poirot himself, and I really enjoyed this, but I do have to read it again because it was a long time ago that I read this, and just this edition is so cute. So the next two books are about Agatha Christie or are adaptations of an Agatha Christie novel. So, the first one is Agatha Christie's Poirot, a celebration of the great detective by Peter Haining. And this was published in 1995, and it was to celebrate Series 6 of Poirot and also the 75th anniversary of The Mysterious Affair at Styles. We've just celebrated the 100th. I just think that is just astounding. This book is 25 years old and it is in practically mint condition, and I'm just so excited to have this in my collection. Obviously it has David Suchet on the front as Poirot, and then there's a couple of character pictures on the back, and it says 1995 marks the 75th anniversary of the publication of The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Agatha Christie's first novel featuring Poirot, and the sixth season of LWT TV programmes. Agatha Christie's Poirot commemorates the history of this much-loved Belgian detective. In 1920, Agatha Christie wrote her first book, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which introduced us to Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective whose little grey cells have managed to solve dozens of mysteries. 75 years on, Poirot remains one of the most popular characters in detective fiction on film and television. Agatha Christie's Poirot takes a look at the remarkable success of Agatha Christie and the inspiration behind Poirot. David Suchet, the critically acclaimed and much-loved star of the new series, talks exclusively about his role as Poirot. There are interviews with his co-stars, and the many faces of Poirot are exposed in a detailed section which looks back at the numerous actors who have played the detective on the stage, in films, on radio and television prior to David Suchet. This celebration of Dame Agatha Christie's most enduring character is essential reading for all Poirot fans and lovers of detective fiction. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. And let's just see. Here is a lovely picture of the gorgeous lady herself. And yes, it just pleases me. I just adore Agatha Christie and her works so much. There was actually an actor that was pictured in this who had played Poirot, and I was so shocked because I had absolutely no idea that this actor had played him. Ian Holm as Poirot. I never knew that, so I'm going to have to do a bit of investigating of my own to find the film, because I think Ian Holm is a very, very good actor. But yeah, that's that one. So the final one in this haul is one that I'm so happy to have. It's a little bit raggedy around the edges. It's not been looked after previously. I think it was an ex-library book, but you can't always find this for love nor money. And when I saw it, I was happy to spend the 20 or so pounds that it cost me. It is Murder on the Orient Express, adapted by François Rivière, illustrated by Solidor. And it's basically a graphic novel, a cartoon strip version of my favourite book by Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express, and it's just beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Let me find... So this is the murder victim being discovered, and it's just... I just love it so much. It's just... Oh, I can't wait to get to it. I'm not always sure where to begin with graphic novels and how they flow. It's not really a genre that I do, but just to even have this, it's just... I just love it, and it's so colourful and it's so beautifully done, and I love it. Just after midnight, the famous Orient Express is stopped in its tracks by a snowdrift. A passenger is stabbed to death in a cabin that is locked on the outside. With the killer still on the train, the world-famous detective Hercule Poirot must race against time to solve the case before anyone else is murdered. Murder on the Orient Express is one of the greatest murder mysteries of all time. Yes, it is. First published in 1934 and based on a real-life kidnapping, it was later made into an Oscar-winning film starring Albert Finney as Poirot. It's such a good version of the film with Albert Finney. It's so good. Very 70s. I love it. Now Solidor's stylish new graphic adaptation will keep you guessing until the end. The Agatha Christie adventures. The world's cleverest crime author is brought to book in this new series of graphic adaptations of her famous crimes. Prepare to solve the murder on the Orient Express. So there are a few of the other titles in Agatha Christie's catalogue that have been turned into graphic novels. So we also have Death on the Nile, which I really need to get a hold of. Murder on the Links, The Secret of Chimneys, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, The Man in the Brown Suit, The Big Four, and The Mystery of the Blue Train. I think there are many more, but that's the only ones that are mentioned on the back of here. And I'm just, I might read this afternoon. It's just, I love it. It's just so lovely. So that is the end of my Agatha Christie Part 1 April book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't blather on too much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.